So there's a dot here, a dot there. Looks like a retina, or is that that's the pupil? This is the cornea, whatever, with the color. And this giant halo, a dot over there, dot over there, dot there, again, dot there. What is this?
What could that mean? Such people, is that normal?
Adam and Eve,
Yes.
and
Adama
yes,
and Eva,
Eva.
the male line, the female line of the first humans created by the Anunnaki.
Yes.
Yes.
So can you clarify or give me the actual story about the Garden of Eden, the
Yeah.
tree of knowledge, the snake and the apple and all of that?
Yes. Again, the extraterrestrial race, known as the Anu or Anunnaki, decided to infuse their genetic material into the natural hominid that evolved on your planet that you refer to now as, generally speaking, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, about 300 to 500,000 of your years ago. And in creating from that genetic manipulation, that genetic fusion, what you now recognize yourselves to be as Homo sapien. With me so far?
Yes.
All right. The idea of the snake represents the knowledge, the wisdom of the Anunnaki, especially with regard to the idea of genetics. The spiral, yes? The snake. That's why the double snakes are still on your medical caduceus. It represents the idea of DNA. But the idea is that the Anunnaki didn't want the humans to have that knowledge. They wanted them to remain somewhat subservient. Therefore, the idea of eating of the knowledge, yes,
Yes.
would be something that would be forbidden. Now, in terms of the general Garden of Eden, there were actually many spots on your planets where the Anunnaki had these genetic laboratories, but one of the main ones was in what you call the area of the Middle East. In that area near the Euphrates River, yes? And therefore that was considered the original garden. Eden is simply the name that they gave to that particular base. You follow? Yes, no?
Oh, that
Am I
particular
losing
area.
you?
Okay.
Yes, that particular area.
Okay.
Eden in their language. Yes? Eden. Eden. So the idea eventually is that the majority of Anunnaki who had not come to the planet recognized what the Anunnaki who did come to your planet had done. It was actually against their laws for them to have done that. And so eventually the Anunnaki that came to your world were recalled. And then it was understood that now that they had created the humans, they had to be guided to some degree. And so now and then the Anunnaki came, but the humans still had a lot of genetic markers turned off. Some of the Anunnaki then became their guides, became their tutors, helped them to grow over time. But at a certain point, they had to let them grow on their own. They had to see what they would do with the information they were given by different sources from off your world. And because of the way that was initiated to begin with, it's why the early humans considered the Anunnaki gods. And it is because of that relationship that was created that you actually have religion on your planet today. Otherwise, you wouldn't have. You understand?
Yes.
The very
we would see
idea,
ourselves as God.
you would
instead
see
of
yourselves
other
as
than.
God. You would have a direct spiritual connection to creation. You wouldn't need intermediaries. You wouldn't think that anyone was better than you, greater than you, over you, or anything like that. You understand?
Got it.
And all of the so-called commandments and laws and rules are all very limited interpretations of the true underpinning knowledge that was given, but was misinterpreted because, again, humans at the time didn't necessarily have the genetic capacity to fully understand, but the guides knew it would take time, as it has taken many thousands of years, to get to this point where you finally are remembering, finally opening up those genetic markers, finally expanding your consciousness to the degree that you can finally acknowledge that you are aspects of all that is. And that's why these conversations are now capable of happening, because you have reached a level where your vibrational state is compatible enough with the delivery of this information that we and others are allowed to do it. It's now something that can serve you and not just confuse you, although obviously there is still a lot of misinterpretation that happens based on some of the information that we and others have shared with all of you.
Yo, my friend, I love listening to this good vibes guy, man, but it's all for entertainment purposes. What he just told us.
Why were colored toilets discontinued from being installed?
You
on
mean
the
they
norm?
used to exist?
Colored toilets used to be everywhere. Pink, blue, green, even
Aye.
avocado, yellow, black,
No way.
brown,
Red.
and red. Back then, people loved matching the toilets.
I've never
with
seen
sinking
one of
tubs,
this.
making bathrooms look like a full-on color palette. But by the 1990s, white became the only option, mostly because it was cheaper, easier to clean, and neutral for selling houses. It became the new norm. Today, if you happen to find a colored toilet, especially in a private residence, because most people renovate nowadays and they don't want colored toilets anymore because they kind of faded that out. It is basically a rare collector's item. Not only a piece of bathroom history, it's something that barely anybody remembers because colored toilets are mostly a thing of the past, and people nowadays mostly want grayness, white and black. Black's not even seen on toilets anymore. It's usually just white and black, like black tiles or like white plumbing fixtures, because nobody really wants colored plumbing fixtures anymore. So yeah, that is exactly why colored toilets, don't exist anymore. That is exactly why colored toilets do not exist anymore. If you have a colored toilet in your house, or you know somebody who does, please let me know. I'd love to hear. And what do you think about colored toilets? And do you think they should be brought back? Please let me know in
I
the
think
comments.
the colored ones look more cool and motivating. What do you think, child of God?
Do you want to know the one biggest thing that woke me up out of the Matrix? You're looking at it. This is the star Sirius, and this is what it actually looks like through thousands upon thousands upon thousands of amateurs instead of that one government organization with the 4 letters. Now, I can't explain how I came upon this other than the fact that I swear to you, I think God tapped me on the shoulder and said, Tyler, you need to study the stars. And boy, what I found sure woke me up. But what woke me up wasn't just the fact that I found out that stars weren't what I always thought they were for 42 years. No, it's what I found in the stars. And when I slow these down and I give you still images, some of you are going to see it. Some of you who are enlightened and have some spirituality already will be able to see it. Others of you won't. But there are dogs in these stars. Every little flicker of light is a different dog.
What's the difference between a cheap saw and an expensive saw? Well, I'll show you. So this is just a cheap saw, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rip cut down to this line here. Now this is double-sided, so it does have a rip cut and a cross-cut side, so I'm going to use the rip side and get myself started. And then what I'm going to do is cut down to this line and see how many strokes it takes. Okay, that's quite a few strokes. Now, there's a time and a place to spend money on more expensive tools, and I think when it comes to sawing, the quality of the tool makes a massive difference. Now, bear in mind, look at the difference in the size of teeth. You'd imagine that the cheap saw cuts a lot faster than the more expensive saw, but I'll just show you. So, as I say, we'll get started, and I'll just do some nice full strokes.
What?
That's 3 strokes there. That's less than half the amount of strokes it took. And you can see the kerf that's left in here. It's literally a quarter of the size of this. Now let's go around the back and just see the quality of the cut on the back side. Let's take ourselves here. So we can definitely see that on this side we've got a huge amount of fibres left here. I mean, they're not attached too well, but you can just see the cleanness of the cut is definitely worth it. Not only is it more efficient in cutting, it also provides a much better finish. And of course, if you are interested in Temple tool saws, you can go on my website and have a look.
Our oceans are filled with thousands of these robots. No, I'm not being dramatic. Meet the Argo Float. It is a scientific oceanographic pogo stick. These robots can only control their vertical movement. Essentially, they're released from a ship, they go down, they drift with a deep ocean current, and then bob back up to the surface. When they reach the surface, they transmit the data that it collected back to a satellite and then back onto shore. It's giving message in a bottle. They are drifting with the currents. They cannot choose where they ultimately end up. Try not to get overwhelmed while we think for a second about how freaking big the ocean is. To understand what's going on beneath the surface of the ocean, we previously had to deploy ships to capture samples, which is expensive and time-consuming and not efficient in any way. Our little pogo sticks here are pretty cheap. They only cost in the ballpark of $20,000, but they last from 4 to 7 years and go where no ship has ever been before. And if you want to play a fun game, I suggest you go into the tracker, you pick one of these bad boys, and you see where it has been. There's a chance it's traveled further than you have in the last 4 to 7 years. Currently, we have over 4,000 of these deployed in our oceans, and we are getting closer and closer to a 3D representation of what's going on in our oceans. Where are the currents? How much of Earth's energy is being stored in there? How much carbon is there? What's going on? As an oceanographer, I go cuckoo bananas for Argo floats. I think they are incredible. Our silent, heroic pogo sticks of science in the ocean. Thank you for your service.
If that is true, my friend, that is mind-blowing. Wow, interesting.
Jalan deh tuh.
I think this.
Jalan lurus loh.
Look at this car.
Sampai begini.
This must be from China. It looks great. Look. This guy is moving on the side. This is very abnormal.
Jalan lagi.
How is it doing this?
Iya loh.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, this is technology. Wow, wow. Look at this. Guy. Wow. Wow, my friends, humans are incredible. Humans are incredible.
I watched a man argue with Bashar yesterday for the first time in years of watching Bashar. Never have I seen a man or person argue with Bashar. And the way Bashar handled it was no less than expected from a higher conscious being alien. But the smile, the shade in the smile is undeniable. You have to see this. Watch this.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, exactly. And so after I saw that, I had the greatest idea of my life one day, which is that I'd bought enough mushrooms for 3 people. It was like 9 grams or something, and only one of my friends was there. And so I thought about this, and I was like, this sucks, it's Christmas evening, and I can't take mushrooms with my friends because only one of my friends is here. And then I had this great idea, which was, why don't I just eat this entire bag myself? And so I did, and of course my friend got out his phone because he was like, well, this is going to be interesting. And he started to record it. And I've since, unfortunately, lost those recordings, but they're very precious to me, but I've lost his friend too, and all of my friends really, and most of my family as well.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. Understand, the teachers of the earth, like the mushrooms, this is a sacrament. Treat it with respect. Treat yourself with respect. You don't need that much. It's teaching you to understand and discern exactly what you need to learn the lesson that is coming from the teacher so that you can learn to get there yourself without the teacher. But understand, this is a sacrament. It is not meant to be overdone.
Well, I picked a tarot card for you, Bashar, because this is what I do is...
I understand.
I help people to understand their energy.
I understand. And the tarot cards are a permission slip that you can use.
Well, I wanted to tell you what was on it.
No, I don't Don't need to hear that.
It's
right
an opening in the physical
I do not need to hear
because
that.
what happened to me
I
was
do not
that
need to hear this.
what you do
Right.
need to hear though
I
is
do
that I
not
had
need
the
to hear
best
this.
experience of my life when I did that because I was
understand.
listening to my teachers.
I understand.
You had the microphone going crazy earlier.
How ready to go?
Because you're about to interact with my energy and because there's a disconnection in some of the energy that's been represented here. I'm telling you, I followed my excitement to that moment. It was a transformative moment. It was a perfect moment.
Yes.
And I don't use drugs, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of it because I listen to my teachers all the time. So what you're telling me has nothing to do with me personally.
What I'm telling you is, whatever it is that you are exploring is what you are exploring, and that's fine, and you're making connections to the light of the source and your own soul, and that's fine. That's what I'm telling you, and that's why nothing else needs to be said. You have said what you needed to say.
Except for the connection with me that you had the opportunity to just have just now that you missed out on because
I didn't miss out on anything.
I picked a tarot card for you, which is my profession, which is my passion, is to give that gift to everybody that I meet. And it's
Do you
been
see
rejected.
how you are running over everything with your words?
Running over everything?
Yes, you are
I'm just
running
disagreeing
over
with what
everything.
you've expressed. There's nothing wrong with that.
You have to understand I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but you are reacting.
But why isn't it a gift to receive from me when we receive gifts from you?
Oh,
It
humans.
is a gift, and I have never said it is anything different.
You said you didn't need the tarot cards. You didn't need what I had to give you. And yet you tell us to give
I said
our
I have
gifts.
already gotten it.
That you've already gotten it, but not from me, not in the way that I give
Yes.
it, not with what I have to give.
But in the way that needed to happen.
Well, then this was the way that needed to happen, and it was all perfect. I mean, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. Yeah,
That's
so,
all I'm saying.
Okay.
I love Bashar.
It's funny I got to argue with you, too, since that has been my experience with so much of Earth. And thank you.
All actings are full of good vibes. This one is for entertainment. Please look at this.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh my god.
These birds are following this woman.
Holy crap, yo.
Wait. Okay, that is one good vibe song.
This is a halibut hook. The Pacific
What is
Northwest
that?
indigenous peoples use this type of hook to catch halibut. And the way
What
the
is
hook
halibut?
design works is this is a bone point right here. This would actually catch specific sized halibut. If it's too small, it'll kind of like be able to not get caught on this part. If it's too big, it wouldn't be able to get its lip through this right here. So it would catch like a perfectly medium-sized halibut. They actually had the design down so well that they knew exactly what poundage of halibut they would get from this size hook. It's made out of cedar, wrapped. These two pieces right here were stuck together and wrapped right there. And they would tie typically octopus or herring onto one of these sides here. And then this line would be attached all the way up to the canoe. And they would have it weighted with a rock sitting at the bottom of the ocean. And the halibut would come in and just try to eat the bait they had and then get stuck, and they would pull it up by hand. If you learned something new, leave it in the comments.
So basically, that is a weapon. Wow, I'm surprised. I've never seen nothing like that in my whole life.